Hi there, welcome to Elm Colors. I'm Erica. On today's video, we are going to be starting our color long in Magical Jungle. I'm hoping that this is going to be a one-part color long, but we'll have to see how it goes. I had said in an earlier video too that this was one of my least favorite ones, but looking through here, I do like quite a few of the pages. I think it's maybe just because I have been intimidated by some of the other beautiful pages I've seen from this book out there. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Anyway, this is the page we're going to work on today. I think it's a really beautiful page. I love this whole floral motif. I like the one opposite too, which I might end up doing that by myself, maybe using some of these same colors. But I thought that we would go with something very bright and tropical and fun. So I'm thinking a black or really dark blue background. I thought this was perfect for the little bird here. And then all of these different flowers that are in here. And I like that there's like blue leaves and yellow leaves and some of the red things over here. So I kind of want to mix all of those colors into one bright, beautiful thing. And hopefully it'll turn out nice. So I'm going to grab, first up, I'm going to grab a stencil because I want to do a circle stencil in the background here to make sure that I get a nice circle behind this. And then we'll grab a marker or something. Well, it might be pencil. I'm going to need to test my book. I think this one's pretty good with markers. I think I've used markers previously and they don't really bleed through too much, but we'll have to be careful. Okay, so let me grab my stencil and I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I have two different sizes. So I'm thinking that one's going to be too small. But that one, well, that's just like perfect. That is perfect. Let's scoot over that way even more, actually. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and I'm just going to draw the circle in with my pencil. All right, so I am going to grab, I think I'm going to go with like just a really dark navy blue. Yeah. And I'm going to grab that marker and I'm just going to color in that whole background. So let me see which one I can get here. Okay, so I went and got a Crayola marker. This is from my set of 100 markers, and I have put them in a color order that I like and then numbered them. So unfortunately, they don't have a number that I can give you to show you exactly what color I'm using, but you can just find a really, really dark blue or black marker, and we're just going to color the entire background in on this. So I'm going to get started a little bit with that. You guys can watch me do that a little bit, and then we will cut to that being done. All right, got all of that filled in. It is a little bit brighter blue than I thought it was going to be, but I can always adjust that with pencils if I need to later on. Okay, so I'm going to start with leaves. I'm going to go through and pick a few greens and a couple of blues. And I'm going to try to match some things out of this inspiration sheet. Okay, so I went through and found a bunch of different greens and a couple of turquoisey blue colors. And I'm going to use these kind of spread throughout the page. I'm going to pick a few that are similar in style and color those the same way, kind of like I've done on other color longs in this series. And then, yeah, and then I'll switch to a different color. I will give you a heads up on what color I'm using. If I have like the number for the Tombow marker, I do have a couple in here that are from a local craft store. So unfortunately those two won't be similar, but you can find other colors that are very similar to that. And then I do have a Zig Brushables marker thrown in here too. So yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start doing some coloring. I think I'm gonna do, yeah, let me think about this for a sec. All right, I'm going to start with 133, and I'm going to do all of the ones that look kind of like this up here. We're going to do those all in this color, and I'm just doing a base layer for right now. So this is just flat color right over the whole shape of the leaf. And anything in that kind of shape, so anything that's straight like that, I'm going to go ahead and add the color to. Now, even though all of these have the same layer of color in the bottom, because I will be coming in with pencils, I can adjust the way they look just slightly. I'm just gonna go ahead and do all of these here. All right, and because I don't want too much of a difference between the, like when they're layered like that, I don't want it to be too stark. So I'm just gonna use the lighter color in my Zig Brushables pen. All right, so those are all the relatively straight shaped leaves. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use this one for some of the vine bits around here too. So, and this part, this leaf, or these leaves here, I'm gonna go ahead and color with this one. Just because it kind of has those straight shaped leaves as well. I do have a lot of colors here to choose from, so maybe I'll just give this one a rest after this. I don't think there's another plant quite like this one anywhere else on here. Just verify. Oh, there is. Well, that's similar, isn't it? Oh, so I guess it's all that one. Great. Okay. Okay. I think I'm going to do, instead of that color, I'm going to do like a turquoisey color for the vines. So I'm going to use 373 in my Tombows, and I'm going to use that on all of these little viney bits. So anywhere where there's like a little swirl of, and all of the leaves along there are also going to get the same color. Okay, and then anywhere where those little leaves are as well throughout the rest of the page are also going to get this color. So like these random leaves that are just kind of sticking out here. So yeah, so I'm just going to go through and find all of the leaves that look like this around the page, and then I will be right back with you after I get those all colored in. Okay, got all of those colored in. I did also have a large spot right here that I hadn't colored in. So I got that colored in too in the background. Okay, so this is where we're at. It looks pretty good. I like it, how it's going. Okay, next we're gonna grab another turquoisey color. I'm gonna grab, do I want this one? No, I think I want this one. So this is a marker that I got from one of my local craft stores. It is their brand, so it's a Hobby Lobby brand. It's number 30, just in case you happen to have a Hobby Lobby by you. And I'm going to use this on these big shaped, these ones that are shaped this way, I think. That's my plan here, because it's close to the same color as that I just used, but not quite the same. Okay, and this might cause a little bit, or might have a little bit of streaking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remember to put my streaks in the direction that the leaf would possibly have texture on it anyway. So I'm going to try to follow the lines of the leaves, especially on some of the bigger ones over here. I think those ones are probably gonna, I'll just have to be careful. All right. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through and color all of these big guys in. So it's just this couple that I just did, these two, these three, and then these two down here. Down here. Okay, so I'm gonna go do that real quick and I will be right back with you. Okay, that's where we are with that one. I'm going to use number 403 from the Tombow. So this is more of a blue, and I'm going to do it on these three here and these two up here. I might save the inside of this. I might do that. I think I'm going to do that, this light green here. So this is 173. I'm going to do the inside of the leaves, that color. Okay, and then I'll go in with this pretty blue turquoisey color. Okay, I am bringing in another Zig Brushable. So this is the pastel green one that I have. I'm going to use the lightest color because on a couple of these leaves, like these ones here, this one, a couple up here, I want to be able to add in a little bit of probably pink in there. So I'm going to go with I'm going to start really light and then I can darken things up as I go through. So the insides of all of those are going to get this really, really light green color. Okay, there's all of those ones. And then I'm going to grab my Zig Brushables again. I'm going to go with the darker green on this one, and I'm going to outline all of those leaves that I just colored in. Okay, so it looks like we have several styles of leaves left to color. So we have these guys here, we have these guys, these ones around the flowers here, and then these other smaller ones around the flowers. So I've got two colors left that I have not used. Did I use this one? I think I just used this one in the center. So maybe I could do a couple with this one. So I think I'm going to do the lighter guys, these guys here, and these two with this one. So I'm going to do that real quick. All right, I'm going to use this darker peacock color. This is another one from a craft store. So this is from a Michael's store. I'm going to color these two leaves here with this peacock color. Okay, I don't love that one. You can really see the streaking pretty badly on that one, but you know what? It's okay because I am going to come back with pencils in a little while. I'm going to use this original lighter color on the Zig Brushable to do the stems on these plants here really quick. Okay, I'm going to use this green, which is a nice dark like green. I'm going to use that on, I'm going to use that on these guys here. All right, and then I'm going to go back to this 403. So this is this more blue color. And I'm going to use that on these guys and these here. Okay, and then on this last little grouping of leaves down here, I'm going to use the lighter of my Zig Brushables marker. All right, so we got all of the greenery colored in. I think everything that's left now is a flower or a bug or butterfly or bug or bird. Yeah, so that's just the marker base done. I can come back in with markers and add in shading and stuff, but I think I'm going to do most of that with pencil this time. I am going to go grab some markers that will go with our beautiful color palette here. And then we'll get to coloring the rest of this with markers as a base layer, and then we'll come back and probably do some pencil work. I might do that as a second video. We'll see how we're doing on time here. So I will be right back with you. All right, so I've got a selection of a couple of oranges, a yellow, pinks, and a blue. I don't know that I'm going to use the blue because we kind of have this blue turquoisey color already on here, but I was kind of looking at the different flowers on here. I did notice this one up in the corner is kind of represented here. There's green on it. I don't know if I want to do green or not. So I think what I'm going to do for this one is I'm going to go ahead and do, you know what, let's do the bird because I know what I need to do with the bird. So we're going to do the bird first. I'm going to start with just lighter colors. So I'm going to do this lighter pink, which is again from the local craft store. So I don't have it. I don't have a number that you can necessarily grab. It's just a light pink or a bright pink. And then, yeah, I'm just going to continue that all the way down. That's going to be pink all the way through. I'm just taking the colors straight from this little parrot here. And then we're going to do some orange. I'm going to start with my yellow. I'm going to come up from, so orange, yellow, blue, pink. Yeah. So I'm going to flick upwards with that one and then come in and flick down with this orange. And then I can kind of blend these just a little bit, but you don't want to work over the paper too much. So just barely touch it. All right. And then I'm going to do blue here, and then I'll be able to add in a little bit of color pencil to change it up a little bit. It's not going to get that changed up actually. And then the pink. Okay. There's my little parrot. Okay, I like him. I'm going to color all of these little circle-y bits with the bright pink. I really like this bright pink color. All right, so if I was going to color something blue, I would want it to be something that there's not a ton of. So probably like this. Oh, that's part of that flower. Maybe these little flowers here. Because I feel like, yeah, that's my plan. So we'll do the blue in this one. I am very interested in bringing in like all of these different colors around in here. So I'm going to do a lot of that work with pencils instead of the markers. It's just nice to have this base down for the markers. Okay. Now I know on these kind of flowers, I know that there's a specific way that you can color them, but I do not know that way right off the top of my head. So I think those guys are all going to be, orange. So I'm just going to color the whole thing in with just one color orange, and then I'll come in, you know, I'm going to do a lighter, I'm going to use the darker of this one. So this is my lighter orange marker, but it's the dark end. And so I'm going to color the whole thing in orange, and then I can come back with my pencils and change things up a bit if I feel like I need to. Again, if you feel like you're getting too many strokes or streaks, just start changing the direction of your strokes to match the direction of the petal. I'm also going to do this little guy up here in yellow. Just going to color the whole thing in, and then I can bring it in my pencils and add some texture or shading or whatever to this. And I wish I had had like a cooler tone yellow, because this yellow and these leaves, these greenish yellow leaves, kind of clash a little bit, but it's not terrible. So, okay, and then I'm going to do lighter pink on these big flowery circles, and then I have a darker pink that's going to go on the smaller flowers that are left. So let me do that really quick. All right, here is where we are with just the marker layer down. Now, if you wanted to, you could absolutely leave it like this. There is no problem with this. It's bright and colorful and vibrant. I might change like the centers of a couple of the flowers, but it looks great. It's so vibrant, and it's just really fun. But we're going to take it a little step farther, which is what I tend to always do. And I'm going to be adding in some color pencil shading, and then we'll also be adding in probably some paint pens and some sparkly gel pens. And yeah, we're gonna spruce it up just a little bit more. So I will be right back with you. Okay, so I grabbed some color pencils. I'm going to be using my Schpirerr Farben pencils today. These are a decent set of pretty much budget pencils. They're pretty close to a budget pencil. And I just really like the way they work, especially in my Amazon books. I'm curious to see how they're going to do on this paper. I've not found too many pencils I don't like on the Johanna Basford paper, but just kind of an experiment. So I've grabbed a few colors, and I'm just going to do a little bit of shading on some of the leaves. I'm going to show you kind of one leaf, and then I will cut to that leaf being done, and then we'll kind of do that process throughout the page for the rest of the elements on the page. So I'm going to start. Let's start with this turquoise color, which I think I'm going to use on these leaves, and we'll see if it's dark enough. If not, then I can bring in some darker color. I'm also going to zoom you in here. Okay, so we're going to focus on this one. And now, since you're close up, you can probably see some of the streaks that are in there from the pencil, but that is, or from the marker. That is not a big concern for me. I can even some of that out with other colored pencils, or I can come back in and, you know, just kind of completely ignore it if I want to. I do have a lighter turquoise color, so I'll probably use that too. But so just in case you happen to have these pencils and want to use the exact same ones, I'm going to use the turquoise, which is number 480, and the Cocolitos water, which is 473. So I'm going to start with this darker one. So we're going to start with the turquoise, and I'm going to just go right along the center here. And then on the right side of that center spine, center vein, whatever it is, I'm gonna color these guys all the way up to the center section there. And then just add some shadowing right along the edge there a little bit. And then when I come onto this side, I'm not gonna color all the way up to the edge. So I'm gonna leave a little bit of a gap. And I'm just going to add in just a little bit of a line really close to that black line that Johanna's drawn in there for us, but not quite touching. And that's going to give me a little bit of a, almost like a self-imposed highlight there. I'm going to do that all the way along that center section, and then also going to come through and add a little bit of shading to the outside edges of this leaf too. Okay, and then I can come in if I really want to cover up some of those lines with this lighter color, and you can see, especially right in here, that's really helping to cover that up a little bit more. I want to try to steer clear of anywhere where there would be definite highlights, because I am going to come in with a white Prismacolor here in a second and add some really nice highlights in there. Yeah, and then I'm going to use my white Prisma and go right along that center where I left that little gap there. Also along the outside edge here, behind these veins here, a little bit out here. And this just kind of creates some depth. Now, if I want to make this a little bit darker, which I think I kind of do, but I want to go more towards the green instead of the blue tones, So I'm going to grab a green, a dark green. So I've got tropical green here. And that's number 620. And I'm just going to go just in these darkest bits. I'm going to add a little bit more color. And then if I feel the need, I can come back in and blend that out again too. But just in like a few spots, just going to add some of that darker green color. And then I'll come back in with my turquoise, color it right over top of those spaces, and just kind of blend things together again. Yeah, so that's kind of how I'm going to do all of those leaves. So again, that's going to be these ones up at the top here, these three here, and then of course these two down at the bottom. So I'm going to head off screen and do those, and then I'll be back to work on the next leaf with you. All right, I got those leaves done. I'm going to hold them up closer so you can kind of see what they look like here. There you go. I like the way they turned out, and we're just going to move right on to the next one. So I'm going to work on these ones that are a little more blue. Again, I'm going to use more blue colors for this, but I think I still want to keep this turquoise out because this is pretty close to that color. But I'm going to use Deep Ocean, which is 465, turquoise, which is 480. And then I might grab like a darker blue as well. So let me grab one more. I'm going to grab the, okay, and then I grab Deep Blue, which is 420. So I'm going to do those ones on these blue leaves. So I'm going to show you this one here and this one here, and then the other ones that are on the page are the same. So let me zoom you back in. Okay, so we're going to focus on this little guy here, which I do need some greens too. So let me grab those really quick. I did not remember that. Okay, and then I also grabbed Golf Course, which is 574. So we're going to attempt to do this leaf right here. So I'm going to start with my deep blue, right? That's what it's called, deep blue. And then I'm just going to go right around this center part here and up through the center. I'm not going to go all the way to the point, but close to it. And I'm going to continue this line around this way. Okay, so normally on my leaves, I would do things a little bit differently, kind of like the ones I just did on the other one, but this one's going to be a little different. I'm going to take this golf course color. I'm going to add a little bit of a center line there. And I'm going to just gently add a little bit of shading to either side. I'm going to blend out on the sides there. There we go. Okay. And then with this deep blue still, I'm going to add a little bit of a line and the edges of the leaf here. And then I'm going to blend things out with this Deep Ocean, since there's a little bit of a overlap here. I'm going to go ahead and add in the shadow there and then blend that out a little. And then what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to start flicking this Deep Ocean color out from the center towards the outside edges. Yep, I think that looks good. All right, and then I'm going to use my white to add a little bit of a highlight in the center. And then again, just do a few flicks from the center. Yep, I think that's going to be it. I'm going to use my turquoise to just blend this part at the edges out just a little bit more. So it's maybe not quite so harsh, although I don't know that it's really blending. But yeah, that's how all of these kind of leaves are going to be colored. I'm going to do something similar to these ones, but then I'll have like these two here, and then I've got a few more down in this section here. But we're going to work on these guys. It's going to be really similar, actually. I'm going to use the Deep Ocean. Is that the one? Yeah, we're going to start with the Deep Ocean. just color in that center line. And on this one that doesn't have one, I'll probably just draw that in. And then I'm going to use the deep blue for the shadowed areas. So anywhere where these leaves are overlapped by something else, it's going to have some shadow there with that. We'll blend it out just a tad. I am going to extend this center line a little bit more. And then kind of do the same thing. I'm just going to draw lines from the center, just like in a flicking motion, out towards the edges. And then I will use the white to add in a little bit of highlight here and there. I'm trying to decide. Yeah, I'll probably still add a little bit of shadow to the tips here. Yeah, I think that's how that one's going to go. So all of the rest of those leaves will be just like that. So I'm going to go off screen, finish those up, and I'll be right back with you. All right, there's the next few leaves done. I'll hold them up a little closer so you can kind of see what I did there. I like the way that's looking. I think I'm going to work on this one, and I think that this is going to be a good color for this. So I have grabbed, what is this? This is Green Mermaid. We might have to mix it with like this really dark blue though, because this is a pretty dark color. We're gonna just do these leaves here. So let me zoom in on those. Okay, so these guys here, again, I'm gonna use the Green Mermaid, the deep blue, and the white here. So I'll start with the deep blue. I'll use that as the really dark shadow color. I'm going to color around the outside of this center section, just kind of similar to the way I did the last leaf. Actually, very similar to the way I did the last leaf. And then I'm going to add a little bit of shadow to the outside edge here. A little bit like in this area here. A little bit at the tip there. Okay, and then for the inside here, I'm going to add a little shadow there. We'll blend it out with this. What did I say this one was? Green Mermaid. Okay, so yeah, I'm going to, I think I'm just going to do, a little bit of an outline on the outside edge of this side. And then we're gonna just shade a little bit over here. And then I'm gonna come in with my white and add a highlight there and there and there. And we'll just, hopefully that doesn't look crazy. I don't love it, so I'm gonna cover that up. I'm gonna lighten it up just a little bit. All right, I am gonna use my Green Mermaid here to just try to minimize those lines a little bit more. So I'm coloring perpendicular to the lines that are on the page. It's not super bad, and I can definitely use it to my advantage, but I just didn't want that super dark in there. I'm also going to use this Green Mermaid to extend the shadows out a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to try to add in some veins with this Green Mermaid, and that's not working great. But not every leaf can be your favorite. And then I can use my white to bring the color in from the outside on these, on this one. Yeah, these leaves aren't going to be my favorite, but that's okay. That's okay. So I'm going to do the same thing on this one, and I will be right back with you guys. Okay, then I also have these little leaves down here. I'm going to use the same color combo with just this deep blue as my darker shadow color, and then I'll blend it out with the Green Mermaid. I'm not going to do any super fancy blending or shading on this. I will add in a little bit of shadow to the left side of each of these leaves. And a little bit of a highlight to the right side. There we go. All right, let me zoom you back out. Okay, so here's where we're at on that one. I'm gonna have to grab another bunch of pencils. I think I'm gonna use some blues on this one because it's very green. And while I like the green, I want a good mix of the blues and the turquoises all kind of mixed in there. So I'm gonna grab some colors for this one, I think, next. Okay, for these guys here, I think I'm going to use some of the Green Mermaid, which is $4.90, and some of the Deep Ocean, which is $4.65. And then, of course, the white will come into play here, too. I'm going to start with the Deep Ocean just to see what kind of look I get. So I'm going to go... I'm going to kind of ignore some of these lines and just kind of add some shading to the center part. And then around the outside edge. And then, of course, whenever things overlap, you got to add some shadow in there. And then I'm going to use, let's just go ahead and see what happens if I use this Green Mermaid to blend things out. That looks pretty cool. And then I can use my white to add in some highlights. Yep, I think that's gonna be those leaves. So I'm gonna go through and do all of those ones. And the same thing, so anything that's in this green color that I did here, I will be using this same color combo. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go finish those off and I will talk to you again here in a second. Okay, so here's where we are. I'll show you these ones that I did over here. So we did these darker green ones here. I like the way those turned out. Okay, let's move on to some more leaves. I'm having fun with these leaves. Okay, let's do these guys. So I need to grab some greens. I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I'm on these guys here. I'm going to try it with the Jungle Light, which is $5.40, the Lemon Green, which is $5.72, and the Green Mermaid, which is $4.90. So let me zoom in on those. I'll show you how I'll do those. Okay, so we're focused on these guys here. I'm going to start with the Green Mermaid, and we're just going to add in shadow right along the left side here, and then I'm going to do the same thing on this side. But I'm going to leave this side open a little bit so I can add in that highlight in there. Kind of the same thing that I was doing on the other ones. We'll add in a little bit of shadow there, and then I'm just going to extend this. It's just like a really skinny triangle shape. I hope that makes sense. And then, yeah, I'm going to continue to do a little bit around the back here. Okay, so that's all I'm going to do with that one. I'm going to try this Jungle Light, which I have not used yet. But we're going to extend these little rays up this way and kind of blend out the other colors. Or the other color, I guess I should say. Okay, and then I'm just going to use this lemon green to just blend it out even a little bit more. Some of the areas maybe where there's a little bit of streaking, I can kind of fix a little bit of that if I feel like it. These ones aren't going to be super fancy, but I like this. So then I'm just going to come in with my white and add in a little bit of white to either side of that. I'm going to use some white down this center line here. And then opposite of where I put all of the shading on these little veins here. Yep, so I think that's going to be it for that one. Yeah, so I'm just going to do this one and then these other two down here. And then I will probably be ready to move on to the next leaves. All right, next one's done there. We're going to move on to these ones that have the lighter green in the center. So all of these ones where I said maybe I would bring in some pink, and I think I found the right combo, so we'll see if I can make that work for us. So I'm going to use, on the green parts, I'm going to use Shamrock, which is number 500, Green Mermaid, which is 490, and a little bit of Lemon Green, which is 572. For the pink on the inside, I'm going to use some of the pink bubblegum, which is 295, and some of the Sassy Pink, which is 298, and then of course my white Prismacolor as well. So for the green parts, let me zoom you back in. We'll just do this guy down here. Okay, so for the green parts, I'm going to start with the Green Mermaid, and you'll notice that I'm using the same color for a lot of the shadows, and that helps to kind of connect everything. So even though all of these different leaves have a different base color, if I'm using the same kind of color combos to add the shadows, it really creates like a cohesive look to it. Okay, so there's that. So that's just going to be really simple shading around the outside. I might add in a little bit of white, a couple spots, just barely minimal. Okay, so now I'm trying to decide if I want the pink to come from the outside or the inside out. I think that's what I want to do. So yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and start with the pinks. So we're going to start with the pink bubblegum. I'm just going to go right along the center section of this, and I'm just going to blend outwards a little bit. And you'll see some of these kind of leaves out in nature too, where there's a little bit of pink in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing with the next color, the darkest color. I'm going to add in a little bit darker, and then I'm going to kind of follow the veins that are drawn in, just to add a little bit of extra detail in there. And it's just a really subtle touch, but I really like the way that it looks. Okay, and then coming in from the outside edge, I'm going to use the lemon green first, just because it'll kind of tone down the next color that I want to bring in. You got to be really careful about mixing your pinks and your greens too, because they will very quickly turn into a lovely muddy brown color. So I'm going to try to not mix them too much. And I know that there's some overlapping things here. I'm going to use the deep blue to kind of draw in the shadows. And hopefully that's not too bad. All right, so we're just going to add in a little bit more pink. And that's basically what I'm going to do. And then I will bring in probably my white Posca. And we'll do a few dots out this way, or dots wherever their lines happen to be, or yeah, I'll just add in some little embellishments on each of the other leaves. So I've got these guys up here to do, and then the ones up the top here with the pink. So I'm going to go off screen and color those in really quick, and I'll be right back with you. All right, there's the next set of leaves done. The pinks look a little muddied, but I think that's just because they are not as opaque as like a Prismacolor would be. But it's still a decent look. I don't mind it. I don't mind it at all. So yeah. All right, next leaves. I'm going to use the same green combo to do some of the leaves that are similar to the outside color that we used on here. So like these leaves up here, probably some of these leaves here, and like the darker greens behind these sections. So I will show you kind of, I mean, my game plan's pretty much the same for all of these. Let me just zoom in and we'll just do these guys here. Okay, so we're gonna work on these leaves up here. So again, I'm using the Green Mermaid 490, Shamrock 500, and the Lemon Green 572, which I don't really know that I'm gonna need the lemon green very much. I'll probably end up using the white as well. So we'll start with this Green Mermaid. I'm using that for the shadowed areas, and then we'll just do along the center section and along the outside. And then blend that out a little bit with the shamrock. And then add in a little bit of white. Yeah, so I don't think this will show up really. Well, it does help blend a little bit. So yeah, I'll probably end up using all three. Let me show this again. So got the green mermaid. So that's along the center, and then along this side, we'll blend it out with the shamrock. And then a little bit more blending with the lemon, what is this? Lemon green? Lemon green? Yep. And then a little bit of white along the highlighted areas. Yeah. So that'll be the, I'll use that combo on all of the leaves that have that same tone. And these, like these stems over here and the stems over here on the other side, like on these flowers here. And then the last bit will be like the greeny yellow, these greeny yellow leaves that I'll be doing. Okay, so I'm gonna go finish off all of these color leaves and the stems, and then I'll be right back with ya. All right, I got all those little bits and pieces done around. I gotta add a little bit more white to this one. And then I do have to get all of these little ones, like all of these little guys all throughout the page done, and then the yellowy green ones. Let's just do those together really quick. I'm gonna show you kind of my idea for the yellowy green ones. And I think I'm just gonna use one pencil. I think I'm just gonna use this lemon green and see if I can just do a little bit of shading. I'm not gonna do a ton, but just kind of like I've been, where I go along the center line and then around the outside edge a little bit here, and then come in with my white and add in a little bit of a highlight. I think that will work. This one is a little different than all the other ones. I think I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to draw in a center line. And then I'm going to do lines out from the center towards the, yeah, I think that'll work. And we'll use the white on these later areas. For the shading in between these, I'm going to use the green mermaid. So anywhere where they overlap like this, they'll get a little bit of shadow here. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to just use, like I said, just this lemon green for the rest of those color leaves. And then on these tiny ones, let's see. Yeah, I probably will just use the green mermaid in the center. Yep, and just leave it at that, probably, really. Do I want the green mermaid, or do I want like the blue ocean that we used earlier? Deep ocean is called, sorry, deep ocean. Let's see how that does with these guys. Ooh, I like the deep ocean better. Yeah. So I'll use the deep ocean on those little guys. So, yep, I'm going to use those, go off screen, finish off the rest of the leaves, and when we come back, we'll start working on flowers. I'll talk to you again here in a second. All right, got all of the greenery done. So I just need to go through and get some shading done on the parrot and the flowers. And then we'll add in some gel pens and stuff like that to finish off the page. So first up, I think I'm just going to start with these pink flowers. I've got a couple of pinks already pulled from those leaves there. So I've got the purple pink, which is number 300, pink bubblegum, which is $2.95, and the sassy pink, which is $2.98. So I'm just going to use a combination of those to do some shading on one of these flowers. Let me zoom in and I'll show you what I'm going to do. And then I'll let you guys finish off the rest of them on your own. So we're going to work on this center one here. So I'm going to start with this purple pink, and I'm just going to Start with a darker shade along the inside. This is not going to be any like life-altering shading going on here. This is just adding a little bit of shading around the center. And you want to stagger the shading out. You don't want it to all be uniform. You kind of want it to come out a little farther in some areas, a little less in others. And that creates just an interesting look so that it's not all completely uniform. Okay, so this one is, what am I using? Sassy Pink is the next one. And this is the same thing I'll do on all 4 of these flowers here. And I'm going to use this pink bubble gum just to finish off. Now this is just really just to cover up any streaking that I have from my markers, to help with that a little bit. Okay, then I'm going to use the Bumblebee color, so that's number 50, and that's going to be on the center there. And then I'm also going to do a little bit from the center here, but I'm going to keep that area white around, just a little bit of white around the edges there. All right, and then I'm going to use my Posca pen as long as it's working. We'll see. These have been giving me some issues lately. I'm going to outline this white area here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get a different pen, I think. I don't know why they're giving me such a problem. I think they're close to being out. That seems to be going better. Maybe I just need to do 2 layers. Anyway, I'm just gonna go around and do that, white out that part there. And then I'm also going to put just a single dot in all of these little, in each one of the petals, all the way around. Now, since I have a water-based marker as a base layer, there's a good chance that the color underneath will bleed through, and that's okay because it doesn't have to be perfectly white. If you really want it perfectly white, you're going to need to use like this Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White is a good tool to use for that, but you'd have to use like a really fine paintbrush to do that. I don't mind some of the color coming through from the bottom, but that's basically going to be it for me on the. I'm going to have to go grab another Posca somewhere. I think I have some extras upstairs. But yeah, I just wanted this center section to be so frustrating. I'll be right back. Okay, I got a brand new Posca, and it's probably going to be like way more paint than I need for these little spaces, but I will do my best to get it to do what I want. Yeah, so I want to go all the way to the inside on these. There we go. All right, so that is basically what the pink flowers, the big pink flowers, are look like. I'm going to use this yellow gel pen just right in the center. There we go. So that's what those guys will look like. So I'm going to go off and do those really quick. I'll be right back with you. All right, next flowers. I think we're going to focus on these orchids. I am going to kind of make up my own orchid because I don't really know what I want to do. So I'm going to use some Sassy Pink, which is the 298. I'm bringing in a new color, which is the Coral. So that's the 200. I'm going to use an orange gel pen in a couple of spots. And then we'll also blend a little bit with the orange, which is 180. So I'm going to zoom you in on the orchids. Okay, so I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use the Coral and do a little bit of blending out this way. So these petals here are all going to be mostly orange. I'm going to start with the coral and then blend a little bit with the orange. Do the same thing on these petals going out this way. Okay, and then I'm going to add in a little bit of pink, I think, around the outside of this. So I'm using the Sassy Pink around this outside edge here. Doesn't really come across as pink so much. It comes across more as a red, but that's okay. I'm going to use this pink as well to draw in a couple of texture lines from the center. And then this guy down here is going to get quite a bit of pink. I'm going to do out from the center and then up through the middle. Just kind of like that. And I am going to use a little bit of orange to blend that out. Use the coral to do a little bit of shading here on each side. Okay, the only other thing I can think of that I might want to do is I want to bring in a little bit of yellow, but I don't know. Oh, it's not too bad. I think it would work better if I was using my Prismacolors, but a little bit of yellow just there, and then maybe a little bit coming in on these little pieces, and then blending out a little bit around here. Let me try a little bit more with this Sassy Pink. Okay, I don't hate that. Again, might grab a little bit of yellow for this area in here. Anywhere where there's not already some shading, this should pick up a little bit of that color. But yeah, if you're using your Prismacolors on this page, then you'll really get a big color payout because those prisms are very opaque. Okay. I'm going to use the orange gel pen right in the center there, and then we're going to use the white Posca. We'll cover up these circles here. And then I'll also do these little dots going around the edge of the flower. Yeah, I think. And then, yeah, we'll just do these lines too. Oh, I'm losing some. Is this the right pen? No, I think I grabbed the wrong one. I sure did. Okay. Make sure you grab your right Posca. There you go. Okay. And then these will be much more opaque as well. And then we'll just do a few little random dots in here. Okay, so that's going to be what the big orchids look like. And then like these little baby ones, very simply, I'm just going to use the coral, the orange, and maybe a little bit of the yellow to do some shading on those parts. So we'll start with the coral. Use the orange, and then use a little bit of the bumblebee. Yep. And so that's going to be what the little buds look like. So I'm going to go off and finish off those guys. I will be right back with you. All right. Orchids are done. I think they turned out cute. This is going faster than I thought it was going to. Okay, so I think because I have those oranges here, I'm going to do this little butterfly down here. I'm going to do that with orange. Yeah. So I'm just going to grab those colors that I had already. So I've got coral, the orange, and the bumblebee. I'm going to start with the coral in the centers, and then we'll go to the orange. I'm going to do the bumblebee on the ends there. Now, I do like the Schpirerr Farben on top of the markers. I don't love it just by themselves on the paper. Yeah, that's not necessarily my favorite, but that's okay. So yeah, I'm just doing another layer of each color. Okay, and then I'm going to use the orange here. We're going to do just a line along each of the parts of the wing here. I'm going to do the whole center of the butterfly with the orange. I'm going to grab my yellow sparkly gel pen, and we're going to add a little bit of yellow on here too. And then we're also going to do the antenna with the yellow. Okay. So hopefully you can see a little bit of the sparkle on that too. So yeah. All right, so there is the butterfly. Let's focus on, let's do these dark pink flowers, because that's going to be, because I don't think that I have, so I have like that purple pink color, which I can see if this is going to do anything, but it might not really. Well, that's not bad, I guess. So I'm just going to add a little bit of shadow around the outside edges of the petals. Okay, that'll work. We'll do a little bit of yellow in the center. I'm going to do two at a time just to see if I do like this. Okay, and then I'm going to grab the white. It's just my white Prisma, and I'm going to do a few lines from the end of the flower. Yeah, I think that's going to be it there. And I actually think I'm going to do orange on these little parts of the flower here. Do I want orange? I don't really want orange. So we won't do another orange. I might see if I can find a pink that I like. I have this light pink. All right, actually, instead of that softer pink, I'm going to do like this bright, almost neon pink in those little spots. And then I'm also going to use this same gel pen to do a little bit of sparkle on all of these little tiny circles. I've got like 3 or 4 spots around the page that those are on. So, okay, so one more time with the flowers, we're going to do purple pink color around the outside edge, and then we'll just do a few lines from the end of the flower. There we go. All right, I like that one the best. I think, do I like it with the, I'm trying to decide if I like it with the white. Was any of that on screen? I'm so sorry if it wasn't. Oh man. Yeah, so I think I kind of like it. I'm gonna go ahead and do the yellow. I like the yellow in the center. Okay, so I'm gonna go finish these off and I'll be right back with you guys. All right, got all the pink flowers done. I think I'm gonna do this little bug here. I think that's gonna be pink. So I'm gonna use this bright hot pink gel pen. Well, if it's gonna work, come on. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna use that in the center, and then we'll do some of the sassy pink along the outside of the wings. And we'll use the bubblegum pink insides. And then again, I think there's tiny little antenna there, so I'm just gonna do those in white. There we go. Yep, I'm gonna use the white Prismacolor to blend those a little bit, and we'll be good. All right, there is that. All right, so I guess just the yellow flowers and the parrots, what we have left. So let me grab some colors for those. Okay, so for this one up here, I'm gonna do a little bit of, yeah, I think we're gonna do a little bit of orange on these guys. So I'm just gonna do a little bit of orange on the tips of these, like that, and then I'm just gonna blend it out with the yellow. It's not gonna be anything spectacular over here. It's just normal yellow and orange. All right, and then with my yellow gel pen, I will go ahead and just add a little bit of sparkle to each of these little petals. I'm just tracing the line. That's really it. I think that's all I'm gonna do, and then maybe add a little, like a couple of dots to the tips of these. Okay. Oh, while we're here, we could do these little blue flowers, because those are the only blue flowers we have. I forgot about those guys. I'm just gonna use the turquoise, I think. And then maybe a little bit of the white. So I'll do a little bit here, a little bit here, and then a few streaks back that way. So yeah, those will be my blue flowers. Okay, on these blue flowers as well, there are like these long little things that are hanging out here. And I'm going to use the white Prisma first, and then I'm going to come in with my Posca. I'm hoping the Prismacolor kind of protects the whiteness of the Posca. Okay, I like those. What did I say next? The other yellow flowers, right? Okay, so let's work on these, and then I will show you guys kind of what I want to do on those. I'm going to use yellow and green on this one. So I'm going to use the bumblebee, and then the lemon green was the other color that I had in mind for this. So in the centers here, I am just going to add a little bit of this lemon green. Okay, and then actually I'm just going to go ahead and do orange too. We'll just do orange, green, and yellow on these. And then we'll do these little bits as orange. Okay, and then around these, the insides of these, I'm going to do a little bit of green. Okay, and then from these little center things, I'm going to very lightly just have a little bit of orange coming off of those. All right, the center part here, that's going to be green. And then I'm going to use my yellow Stardust, and we're just going to outline this whole flower in the yellow sparklies. I'll probably add in some white dots and stuff here in a second too, but let me get this outlined. Okay, yeah, and then I'll use my Posca. We'll do some dots around the center, one at the end of each of those pieces, and then maybe just some around the outside edges. little white Posca dots sometimes just bring a flower to life. So yeah, so I think that is going to be what my, hopefully you can see a little bit of the sparkle. That's what those yellow flowers are going to be. So I'm just going to go ahead and finish those off, and I will be right back with you guys, and we'll do the parrot. Okay guys, last but not least, we've got this lovely little parrot guy here to finish up. So I'm going to use kind of the same colors that I've been using the whole time. So let me grab a few of those really quick. Okay, so I'm going to use the Sassy Pink to do just a little bit of shading on the parrot. So around the eye part here, back of the head, along the wing, and then underneath this part of the wing here. Use the bubblegum pink just to blend that out. Okay, I'm going to use my white actually to add a little bit of highlight to the head and the chest. Okay, the beak is going to be a nice, we're going to do a nice yellowy orange color. So I'm going to do a little bit of the orange, and then we'll come in with the bumblebee. For the eye, I'm going to do this last, but I am going to put a little bit of glaze pen on it. Yeah, okay, so we're going to do, I'm using the orange here. I'm just going to add a little bit more texture to the wing up this way. I'm going to use the green, this lemon green, and I'm going to come up from there, and then we'll use the yellow in between the two, and hopefully that'll look good. I might add in a little bit more, just a little bit more up at the top here. There we go. Okay, and then for the blue part, I'm going to use the turquoise, and we're just going to add in a little bit of shading there. I'm going to use a little bit of the green again for this part, just at the end, and then everywhere where it overlaps, we'll get a nice shadowy part there. I do need to create the shadow here too. Sorry, I went off camera for a second. I had to make a shadow. So I'm using the Deep Ocean to create some of the shadows on the bird's wings. So we're also going to just come back in again with this green and add in some of that. Use this Deep Ocean to create a little bit darker shadow under the wing. Okay, and then for the face, I think I'm just going to use a little bit of pink. Just a tiny bit. And then we'll just use the white. Yeah, I think that's going to be good for the parrot. And then I'm going to use the Glaze pen in black. And we're just going to fill in this whole eye. Just like that. Once that dries, I'll probably hit that with a little bit of Posca. But we'll give that a second to dry, and then we'll see the whole page. Okay, so here is the finished product. The only other things I did off camera was I did add a little white dot to the Glaze pen once it dried, and I did add a little bit of the neon pink glitter pen to the ends of these little things coming out of the flowers there. But I'm going to hold this up so you can see everything a little bit closer. I really like the way that this turned out. There's just a little bit of shimmer on a few things. It's not overwhelming. I think this turned out really beautiful. I love the vibrancy of the colors, and that really is due to that marker base and then the colored pencils on top. But I like it. I think it turned out great. I'm very excited to have another page done in this book. And that is the end of the color along. I'm glad I was able to fit it all into one video, and I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thanks so much for joining me today, and until next time, I'll see you later. Bye!